Steve here. We're about to take a hard look back at a decade that really did change the entire game, the 2010s. This was a period born from the ashes of a global financial meltdown that somehow ended up building the very DNA of the market we're all trying to navigate today. So let's get right into it.
You have to remember what it felt like after the 2008 crash. The air was just thick with fear. I mean, every trader, every analyst, heck, every person on the street was just waiting for that other shoe to drop, for the next wave of the collapse. But it never came. Instead, something completely different began to happen, something none of the old playbooks could explain. So instead of that second crash, what did we get? Well, we got the longest bull market in American history. But here's the kicker. This wasn't a recovery built on a booming economy, on factories humming and real growth. Oh no. This was a rally built on an entirely new and frankly artificial foundation, a zero interest rate policy. And this new reality gave us a new mantra on Wall Street, an acronym you heard everywhere, one that basically defined the entire decade. TINA. T-I-N-A. There is no alternative. And let me tell you, that simple, almost brutal principle, it drove every single investment decision for 10 solid years. So what did TINA actually mean? Well, you had the Federal Reserve, first under Ben Bernanke and then passed to Janet Yellen, and they effectively took away the option of being safe. You put your money in bonds, in a savings account, you got nothing back. In fact, you were losing money to inflation. So, where does all that cash go? It has to go somewhere. It all poured into the market. It was the only game in town, a bet you were forced to make. And because of that, we all had to learn a brand new lesson. We stopped trying to guess when the next crash was coming, and instead, we just listened. Listened for the hum of the Fed's money printers. Every single time the market even stumbled, a fresh wave of liquidity would just magically appear to catch it. The new rule was simple. Don't fight the Fed. You ride their wave or you drown. Simple as that. But here's the thing about this historic rally. It wasn't for everybody. This wasn't some rising tide that lifted all boats, not even close. No, this was a rally that was intensely concentrated in a new kind of corporate giant. These digital Goliaths that were literally reshaping modern life right before our eyes. And you know all their names. It's the FANG stocks. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. But in the 2010s, they became something more than just companies selling you things. No, they were building the very ecosystems that we all started to live inside of. They were the new infrastructure. And the sheer scale of their power was just staggering. I mean, look at these numbers. By the middle of the decade, the market gains were just absurdly concentrated. These 5 companies, 5, were responsible for almost all of the S&P 500's growth. The other 495 companies, they were basically just a rounding error. We'd never seen that kind of hyper-concentration before. We had truly entered a winner-take-all economy. You know, all that old wisdom about diversification, it started to look kind of quaint, almost foolish. If you really wanted to win, you didn't bet on the market anymore. You bet on the platforms that were the market. Because if you owned the platform, well, you owned the world. But while we were all staring at our iPhones, completely mesmerized by the FANG stocks, a different kind of revolution was happening. It was happening down in the pipes, in the very plumbing of the market itself. A quiet and almost invisible takeover by the machines. And here it is. For the first time in history, most of the trading wasn't actually being done by people. Over 70% of the volume on the New York Stock Exchange was being executed by high-frequency trading algorithms. The iconic trading floor became a ghost town. It was just a TV studio. The real action was happening inside humming server farms out in New Jersey. And these machines, they operate at speeds a human brain just can't process. We're talking about microseconds, a millionth of a second. They don't care about a company's balance sheet. They don't care about a CEO's vision. They care about patterns, tiny little price discrepancies, and arbitrage opportunities that last for less time than it takes you to blink. We all got our first real taste of this new world on May 6, 2010, the flash crash. I remember watching it live. In just a few minutes, the Dow plunged nearly 1,000 points for absolutely no reason. No news, nothing. And then, just as fast, it all came back. It was the machines talking to themselves, and it terrified everybody. And that was the moment. That was the moment we all knew, really knew, that a fundamental shift had happened. We might still decide what to buy or sell, but the humans, we were no longer in total control of the execution. The machines were now in the driver's seat. So why does all this history matter right now? Because from where I'm standing, here on Friday, March 13th, 2026, you simply cannot understand the market we're in today, the all-time highs, the incredible volatility, that constant feeling of unease, unless you understand the decade that poured its foundation. The 2010s left us with a powerful legacy. It taught the entire market to believe in the Fed put. This unspoken promise that the central bank would never let things truly fail. But in doing that, by pumping asset prices to the moon, it created a massive wealth gap. It got the whole system addicted to liquidity, to cheap money. And it perfectly set the stage for all the chaos that followed. The pandemic, the meme stocks, and now this AI revolution we're living through. Which, of course, brings us to the one question that hangs over every single thing we do in the market today. When we look at where we are now, was that decade the beginning of a new normal, or was it just a 10-year hallucination, a wild dream fueled by the cheapest money in human history, a dream that maybe, just maybe, we haven't truly woken up from yet?
That's the question you have to answer for yourself. I'm Steve. Trust the trend, but you better damn well verify the floor. I'll see you at the open.